Good everyone, this video today. It's a sub replay by MrCatt. We haven't heard from him in a while. He's apparently, according to his email, well, his 3 emails, because he actually sent me 3 different battles, and he was claiming to be my most indecisive, even though he spelled it wrong, but it's fine. Indecisive subscriber, and he was there sending me Mig-15 battles like, use this one, and then he was like, nope, use this one, and then he was like, alright, I'm your most indecisive subscriber, use this one. I looked at all 3, and to be honest, I agree with him that this third one was the best one. So he was out today in his German Mig-15 Biz, which I actually own this aircraft. I don't have to, like, unlock it or anything. I've already got the Mig-19S, so there's that. So obviously, the German Mig-15 Biz is, well, I believe it was it the East German side or is it the West German side? I think it was East German who would have had these. And obviously the Mig-15 was one of its, well, probably one of the most advanced jet fighters at the time, with it completely outclassing aircraft such as the Panther, the Banshee, the Shooting Star. It was up until, well, and also the Thunder, or not the Thunder Streak, that's the F-84 with an afterburner. The F-84 Thunderjet, sorry. And obviously, once the Sabre rolled around, that's when this thing started to get a bit on par with the Sabre. It obviously could go to higher altitudes than the Sabre, but the Sabre could basically match it in every roll and do things even better than the MiG-15. Obviously, that was up until the F models that wasn't able to be happened. But yeah, it's one of those jets where, like, when I saw it was going down to 8.7, obviously with me planning to fly some jets soon, yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. Personally, I mean, to be fair, it is fighting supersonics nowadays, which it shouldn't be fighting, so I can understand why they put it at 8.7. But anyway, less about me blabbering about some bloody MiG-15 and MiG-17 and all that jazz. Let's get into the battle and let's have a look at what MrCatt's been up to. But yes, he's mentioned in his emails that he's been rather inactive in War Thunder, and I have noticed him coming on from time to time. And it's quite sad, really, because obviously War Thunder's one of those games like, some days you have a good day, sometimes you have a bad day, and if I have a bad day, I log off for the day, maybe even 2 days. But obviously, I've got to keep this up, so at the end of the day, that's just how it is. So, on MrCatt's team, you're going to be noticing, I believe his name is Too Spooky to Play at Live, which is an Xbox player, in his Cuban MiG-17S. Well, don't worry, no American jets appeared. Oh no, he's got 1 American jet, so he might try and team kill him. Well, then again, the Americans failed multiple times to kill, what's his name? What was the guy's name? The political leader of Cuba. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But yeah, they failed multiple times, so hopefully he'll fail multiple times to try to team kill the Cuban MiG-17. And I bet those two have their Cuban cigars ready to go. So MrCatt doing the typical jet thing of pretty much just taking off, putting your wheels up, getting on the deck, and getting up to speed, ready to do a nice zoom climb, which most jet pilots tend to do. Obviously, when I get around to jets, I'll be fighting spaded jets, because, well, stat putters, because they fly the same shit thousands of times, because of all their low lives. But, yeah. It's going to be hard for me, but hopefully I'll be able to get into some jets sometime soon, and obviously work on spading my first jet, which might be the MiG-9, personally. I like the MiG-9. That's one of my more liked jets. So obviously MrCatt got up to around 540 miles per hour, and then obviously he stuck the nose up to get it climbing. The one thing you don't want to do in a jet, primarily, even though I'm talking from inexperience here, is climb as soon as you're off the runway. You want to gain speed and then zoom climb. But then leave yourself enough speed so that you do not stall, and then you can continue accelerating as normal, like what MrCatt is doing here. So, a Vautour has just shot down a F-86 F-35, which I believe is the premium one. But the Shenyang F-5 with his missiles has shot down that Vautour. So, that's always nice. Gets rid of the Vautour, doesn't it? Vautours are just so, like when I saw the Israeli one coming in, I was like, nah, that's not going to work very well. And, well, yeah, it depends. I mean, if it gets down tiered, it might do well, but not up tiered. So here comes MrCatt engaging a F-86 F-35, who decided to turn inside of him like that. And, well, the MiG-15's got great elevator authority at those sorts of speeds, and blows him to bits with the two 23mm cannons and the 37mm cannon. Now, bear in mind, the MiG-15 was designed to primarily kill bombers, such as B-29s and stuff. It was not really meant to fight other fighters. It could do it, which it did reasonably well. It's just it couldn't. Well, it couldn't hold a candle to an F-86F model in the right scenario. Obviously, that guy was a bit of a dumbass, but now, if I remember rightly, there was like when the Korean War happened, obviously MiG-15s fought against F-86 Sabres. F-86 pilots tended to refer to skilled MiG-15 pilots as honchos, if I remember rightly. It was honchos, like really skilled pilots. I think they referred to them as the Russian pilots primarily, but obviously they didn't know they were fighting Russian pilots at most points. And well, there goes a missile from one of the MiG-17 ASs. Obviously misses the F-35 by a mile, because, well, it's only got like a 4G, 6G pull, and the F-86 must have pulled about 8Gs to shake the lock. But obviously those two boys down there are going to be firing their missiles off and firing their guns off. And well, here comes another Vautour, a 2A, which I believe has the guns on it, if I remember rightly. That F-86 just deliberately crashed himself to deny the kill, which is a scumbag move, because he realised that he's not going to be able to outrun MiG-15s. Yeah, what a scumbag is all I'll say. So MrCatt obviously loops over. There's a FJ4B Fury joining the party. I actually have the premium, well, not the premium, the event version in my hangar. It's just I've never flown it because, well, jets. And well, MrCatt scores his second kill on that Vautour 2A. And well, here comes a MiG-17 AS joining the party. You're going to be seeing that guy later, that Coco Dayo. And well, he goes to engage this FJ4B Fury, which he can easily catch. But obviously the FJ4B has got a slight speed advantage, but obviously since MrCatt is getting wound up now, he is able to keep up with the aircraft pretty dang well. Obviously MrCatt is wanting to engage this guy in a reasonable one-on-one, which the FJ4B could probably hold its own. I'm not too sure about jets, but I'm making that well known. But obviously the FJ4B pilot here appears to have dropped his air brakes and cut his throttle, which is the perfect manoeuvre to do against MrCatt. And obviously MrCatt was not expecting that quite clearly. So MrCatt decides, okay, I'm going to use my speed and I'm going to get, well, out of here. And here comes this F-86F. It's a 35, so not premium, looks like. Scores a crit. Crits the left-hand wing with a 37mm. And obviously the FJ4B looks to be coming back to try and get a crack at him, but, well, the FJ4B ain't catching a MiG-15. Don't care how hard it tries. Now, I'm going to admit, MrCatt did make a bit of a misplay here from what I think. Obviously, that G91 down there is engaging 3 aircraft at once. The FJ4B, damaged F-86, and another F-86. And this is where MrCatt's going to make a bit of a misplay, and where I think he costs the G91 his life. Not saying you have, mate. I'm not saying you've caused this guy's death. He is fucked anyway. But he goes for the damaged Sabre. I would not have gone for the damaged Sabre, and even then, that just sparked. You saw the 37mm sparking right there. But MrCatt should have gone for the undamaged Sabre and the undamaged Fury instead of going for the MiG-7, also the Sabre that was already damaged. Subsequently, the G91 is going to die anyway, but it would have been probably a lot better, third kill, for MrCatt to engage the undamaged Sabre first and the undamaged FJ4B Fury. So he scores a hit there, takes off the right-hand flap of the F-86 Sabre, which it's still combat viable, but MrCatt has actually ran himself out of ammunition at this point. And obviously he mentions that in chat at the 7-minute 24 mark. Obviously the FJ4B Fury is obviously making his way back to base. It looks like the Sabre is probably going to do the same, but this MiG-17 has obviously been pursued by Too Spooky to Play, and well, Too Spooky to Play, he's I think he's out of missiles, but obviously according to the replay, he's still got a missile left. But that's just a replay, unfortunately. So obviously these two are engaging, and it's obviously going to be down to pilot skill at this point. But obviously MrCatt is out of ammunition, but he still wants to lend a hand, which obviously, because they're fighting over their runway, all it takes is MrCatt's going for a landing, and that MiG-17 will vulture him. Trust me, I've seen jet replays. People will vulture. So for some reason, MrCatt decides to put his smoke on, which might get his attention. But the main factor to consider here is that the MiG-17 AS on the enemy team is already damaged. You can see oil spraying out the back of it. And well, here's where MrCatt is going to try something pretty funny. He's going to try and ram that MiG-17. But obviously he's coming in at 620 miles an hour, where the MiG-15 just doesn't like it. So he needs to drain a bit of speed. And I believe the AS model of the MiG-17 has an afterburner, if I remember that rightly. I may be wrong, but I don't own the jet, and I've not really test flown it, so I can't say I know. So MrCatt, once again, goes for the ram, but completely misses. He's going to be doing this a lot. But to be honest, I can see why he's doing it. Personally, what I would have done is I would have flown in front of the MiG-17 AS, the enemy one. In fact, no, sorry, the friendly one is what I meant to say. Make it look like I'm obviously missing a turn on in hope, after a couple of attempts, that MiG-17 will break off, because obviously MrCatt has the higher energy at this point. And well, the MiG-17 over there is trying repeatedly to score gunshots and everything, and I believe he still has a missile left. But obviously MrCatt's going for the ram again, he just misses the target. Like I say, I can't really blame him, because obviously the MiG-15 Biz, I think it can carry rockets, but I'm not sure if MrCatt ever plans to put on those rockets, because, well, I've heard mixed reviews about them. Now, he could have potentially got the ram there, but he adjusted his ailerons a bit too quickly, but whatever, it's fine. But this is just like, this is like watching one of those low-level arcade players, and there goes a missile, but luckily the MiG-17 managed to force it to break off. And at this point, they're able to break some distance between each other and get to the airfield's AAA cover. Which, I mean, that's the right thing to do. That's what I would probably do in this situation. Now, whilst we was blabbering on, the F-86 F2 from earlier has actually crashed. Although MrCatt did score the kill for damaging his right flap. Or sorry, left flap. Is it the left flap or the right flap? It's the right flap. And, yeah, he did score the kill, unfortunately, which is a shame, because MrCatt could have gotten 4 kills for this game, but nah, guys are just like, fuck you, because, well, they're always like that. So at this point, MrCatt basically needs to land. I'm not sure of his fuel state, but I'm guessing not much, depending on the speed of his aircraft. I'm guessing he brought a little amount of fuel, because obviously the MiG-15 Biz doesn't come with an afterburner. But obviously he needs ammunition and he needs to repair on his right hand wing. So we're going to skip the landing because, well, in fact no, this one's for Hello Foe. He'll get why. Yeah, it's nice to see MrCatt back in the skies and everything. I hope you see him in the comments as well. But this one's for Hello Foe. I laughed at it at first when I was planning it. But this MiG-15, well, MrCatt seems to want to make his MiG-15 twerk a little bit. And give him a little arse shaking, shall we say. So, Hello Foe, I'm sure, even though I don't think Hello Foe plays that many jets, I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Anyway, let's skip the landing, skip the rearm and the repair and everything and the takeoff, and let's get back underway. So once again, MrCatt is doing the exact same tactic he did before. Get up to speed to around about 540, 560, and then zoom climb like so. So obviously, whilst we've been doing that, the MiG-17 that got away, because the AAA didn't actually kill him, he's obviously gone back to base. Now also the FJ-4B apparently was crit and he actually crashed, which the G91 pilot, who obviously MrCatt, I mean he did help him technically, if you want to get technical about it, but the FJ4B appears to have crashed, and obviously he didn't crash on the runway, so it's now down to MrCatt in his Mig-15 Biz, 2 Super to play in his Mig-17 AS, up against 1 Mig-17 AS, aka Coco Dayo, or Dayo, I don't know how you say that. Like, honestly, if I was to name myself after something daft, I'd just name myself after one of the monkeys from Super Monkey Ball. Or is that just me, being a young Sado? If no one's ever played the Super Monkey Ball games growing up, you've missed your childhood. And yes, I still remember the 4 names. Ai, Mimi, Baby, and Gong Gong. There's a bit of sad trivia for you. My dad's favourite character was Gong Gong, because he was the biggest monkey. Mine was Ai because he was the most annoying, but at the same time, if you put his voice on full volume on the TV, it would give my mother a headache. So it was a nice way to basically get her to bugger off if she was annoying me or something. So at this point, MrCatt obviously is engaging Mr. Coco Dayo in his Mig-17 AS, and obviously the other Mig-17 AS from earlier on is coming in to give MrCatt a hand. And well, in the head-on, 2 Super to play gets lucky, blows the wing off of the Mig-17 AS. And at this point, I think MrCatt has got a bit of beef with this guy. So he's just going to spend a couple of seconds shooting this guy up, and it's actually pretty funny. So he goes in, starts shooting a bit more, blows the other wing off, and then kills the pilot and blows the plane to pieces, getting an assist for the game. And that is that. So well done to you, MrCatt. Nice to see you back in the skies, pal. It's been a while since I've seen you in the skies, but I'm glad to see you returning. Hope to see more replays from you as well. Last time I did one of yours was it the IS-2 in arcade, and then you brought out a T-44-100? I think that's it anyway. But nice seeing you, pal. It was a good way to have a return, shall we say, and then that poor MiG-17 pilot. I mean, just the thought of 37mm and 23mm armor piercing and high explosive rounds, as well as fragmentation incendiary tracer, slamming into the back of your head, I don't think that's healthy. But anyway, if you guys want to send me a replay, please do. There is an email in the description below. And well, I hope to see anyone's replays. Catch you all on the next one.